Every click, every keystroke, every like, every purchase is adding to it. You are being watched online. Every second of every day, your phone, your smart TV, even your smart toothbrush are silently compiling a dossier on you, storing information about what makes you tick, what you buy, what you watch, where you go, who you meet, how you feel. But you probably don't know that this dossier exists. You certainly haven't given it a name. You may not even realize you're in one. It's time to meet your digital shadow. How much data do you think you generate in a day? In theory, it's up to 1.7 megabytes per person per day. That's 17 gigabytes per person per year, or over 34 terabytes for every 2 billion people worldwide generating data every day. All this information is stored somewhere. Where does all this data end up? Who decides what happens to all this data? What if someone had access to all this data? That's why it's important that we talk about your digital shadow. Your digital shadow is an ever-growing collection of data about you that follows you around online. It's a comprehensive record of everything you do on the internet, including your likes, dislikes, interests, demographics, location history, app usage patterns, spending habits, social interactions, biometric data from wearables, and more. In essence, your digital shadow is a reflection of your online identity. It's like a second self that lives online and grows with every interaction you have with technology. But here's the thing, you probably don't know that this dossier exists. You certainly haven't given it a name. You may not even realize you're in one. Let's take a look at some of the details. It's not just what you search. Search engines know what you search for, but they also know how long you hover over certain links, what you scroll past, how many times you click back, how many videos you watch, and how long you watch them for. They even know what keywords you type in and how hard you press the keys. For example, when you search for a restaurant on Google, the engine stores the keyword restaurant, but it also remembers how long you looked at the listings and which ones you clicked on. It knows whether you looked at the photos, and if so, which ones you lingered on the most. If you check out the menu on the website, it notes that too. And if you make a reservation, it knows which day and time you chose. This information is stored in your digital shadow, and it helps Google refine its search results for other users. It also allows the company to serve you relevant ads based on your interests. This is just one example of how your digital shadow is being created every time you use a search engine. Other examples include the websites you visit, the social media posts you like and comment on, the products you buy, the movies you watch, and the music you listen to. Even your in-app activities such as gameplay, shopping history, and customer service interactions contribute to the creation of your digital shadow. In fact, your digital shadow extends beyond your own activity. It can also include information about your friends, family, and colleagues. For example, if you post a photo of yourself with friends on Facebook, your digital shadow will not only record your activity, but also capture information about your friends, such as their names and their relationships to you. Similarly, if you tag a colleague in a LinkedIn post, your digital shadow will store information about that colleague, such as their job title and company. So what exactly is happening to all this data? Well, the short answer is that it's being used to create detailed profiles of you as well as other people. These profiles are then used for various purposes, including targeted advertising, personalized recommendations, and even credit scoring. For example, if you've been searching for flights to Paris on Google, you might start seeing ads for flights to Paris on Facebook and Instagram. That's because these companies have access to your digital shadow and they are using it to serve you relevant ads. Similarly, if you've been reading articles about gardening on your favorite website, you might start seeing recommended articles about gardening on your social media feed. But it's not just about product recommendations and ads. Your digital shadow is also being used to create detailed profiles of you for a variety of purposes. For example, credit agencies use your digital shadow to create credit scores, which are used by lenders to determine your creditworthiness. Lenders use your digital shadow to determine your creditworthiness. By analyzing your spending habits and other financial activity, lenders can assess the risk of lending money to you. Insurance companies also use your digital shadow to create risk profiles of policyholders. They analyze things such as your location, history, and driving patterns to determine the likelihood of you filing a claim. This information is used to set insurance premiums and determine coverage eligibility. And it's not just businesses that are using your digital shadow. Government agencies also use it to track citizens' activities and behavior. For example, law enforcement agencies use your digital shadow to monitor potential criminal activity, such as planning a terrorist attack or engaging in illegal online activity. They can track your online activity and communications to identify suspicious behavior and potential threats. Now, you might be wondering how you can control your digital shadow and protect your privacy. One way to do this is to use a VPN. A VPN encrypts your internet traffic and hides your IP address, making it harder for companies and agencies to track your online activity. Another way to control your digital shadow is to use a credit monitoring service. A credit monitoring service can help you track your credit score and alert you to any suspicious activity. It's also important to review your privacy settings on social media platforms and other websites. By limiting the amount of personal information you share online, you can reduce the size of your digital shadow and protect your privacy. Another approach is to delete your digital shadow. Many people choose to do this after they die, believing that it's the right thing to do for their loved ones. They want to make sure that their digital footprint is limited to what they were comfortable sharing while alive. However, doing this is uneasy and often requires working with multiple companies and individuals to delete your data across different platforms and databases. Still, there are ways to minimize the amount of information that's collected about you online. Use a pseudonym instead of your real name whenever possible. Don't use facial recognition technology or other biometric data that can be linked back to you. Avoid using public Wi-Fi networks that could expose your personal information to hackers. Clear your browsing history and cache regularly. Use a password manager to keep your personal accounts secure. Be cautious about the information you share on social media platforms, and review the privacy policies of websites before providing any personal information. If you take these steps, you can reduce the amount of information that's collected about you online and protect your privacy. You can also contact data brokers directly and request that they remove your information from their databases. Some people argue that it's impossible to fully control or delete your digital shadow. Once information is out there, it's out there forever and can be copied, shared, and used in ways that you can't predict or prevent. Additionally, there may be legal and ethical reasons why companies and agencies are able to retain your data even if you try to delete it. For example, law enforcement agencies may be able to access your data with a valid warrant. However, it's still important to take steps to control your digital shadow and protect your privacy. Not only is it a matter of personal autonomy and control over your own information, but it's also a way to ensure that you're not being unfairly targeted or discriminated against based on your online activity. By taking steps to protect your digital shadow, you can ensure that your online activity remains your own and that your privacy is respected. What do you think? Does the idea of a digital shadow bother you? Are you concerned about how your data is being used? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe for more informative content. Thanks for watching. You know what's free? Opening a video on your phone while sitting on a toilet? You know what else is free? Getting angry at this video for making light of a serious topic? But then getting angry doesn't actually do anything. It just makes you feel good for a moment. Then what? Then nothing changes. Let us take a step back and look at a few things that we might be losing without even realizing it. Here are 3 things that you might be losing right now. 1. Money. There was a study done by researchers at New York University and the University of Chicago. They found that people with low credit scores were being charged higher interest rates than those with high credit scores. But here's where it gets weird. Researchers discovered that many of the participants in the study were being penalized for things they had no control over. For example, someone could have a low credit score because their area didn't have many banks or credit unions, so they had to rely on payday lenders who charge higher interest rates. Or someone could have a low credit score because they were a victim of identity theft and could get a loan to fix the problem. But it wasn't just low credit scores that resulted in financial discrimination. Participants with good credit scores were also affected. One participant was hit with a high interest rate, despite having a score of 820, and another participant was denied a loan for a simple reason: they didn't have enough bank account history. When they checked the box on the application that said unemployed, the system generated an automated response. It told them to check the box next to the statement that explained why they were unemployed. There was only one option: I am not required to report the reason for unemployment. After checking that box, the applicant was denied a loan. These types of decisions made by algorithms without human oversight are more common than you think, and unfortunately, it's not just loans and mortgages that are affected by this type of thing. Your digital profile can affect insurance rates, rental applications, and even job opportunities. In a world where a single data point can make all the difference between acceptance and denial. For example, if you're unlucky enough to live in an area that has both high crime and bad internet, your internet provider may deny your application for service based solely on your zip code. This is happening in places like East St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, and Philadelphia. People in these areas are denied internet access simply because of where they live, which could put them at a disadvantage when applying for jobs that require internet access. This is an extreme example of how financial discrimination is becoming more widespread. The scariest part is that most people don't even realize it as happening until it affects them directly. 2. Free will. What if I told you that you don't really have free will? You probably wouldn't believe me. After all, we live in a society where we're constantly bombarded with messages about making our own decisions and being in control of our lives. But what if I told you that you actually be manipulated into doing things that benefit the company, the government, or some other entity without even realizing it? It might sound crazy, but it's actually happening all the time. Subliminal messaging is a form of persuasion that uses stimuli below the threshold of conscious perception. This means that the message is not consciously perceived by the target, but it still influences their behavior. For example, let us say you rewatching a TV show, and there's a scene where a character drinks a Coke. You might not consciously register the brand name, but it still creates a positive association between the drink and the character, which could influence you to buy Coke the next time you go to the store. But subliminal messaging isn't always so obvious. In fact, sometimes it's hidden in plain sight. For example, have you ever noticed how YouTube videos that you watch seem to be tailored to your interests? If you like gaming videos, you'll see more gaming videos in your feed. If you like beauty videos, you'll see more beauty videos. Even the ads you see are targeted to your specific demographics and interests. But why? Well, it's all about control. By understanding what you like and what you don't like, companies can manipulate you into doing things that benefit them. For example, let's say you're a big fan of a certain YouTuber. If that YouTuber posts a video that promotes a certain product, you're more likely to buy that product even if you don't consciously realize it. Companies and the government use hyper-personalized content and advertising to control what you see and therefore what you think. By controlling what you think, they can control what you do. And this is happening on a massive scale every single day. Take, for example, the 2016 US presidential election. It's been widely reported that both campaigns used Facebook to target voters with specific messages based on their interests and demographics. This could have had a major impact on the outcome of the election, but it's impossible to say for sure. What we do know is that the same thing happened again during the Brexit vote in the UK. It's clear that hyper-personalized content and advertising are powerful tools that can be used for good or for evil, and it's up to us to make sure that they're used responsibly. Unfortunately, though, it seems like these tools are being used more and more to control us and our behavior. And the scariest part is that most of us don't even realize it's happening. Number 3, freedom. Imagine living in a world where you're constantly being watched, where every move you make is monitored and recorded, where every word you speak is scrutinized and judged. That might sound like a dystopian nightmare, but it's closer to reality than you might think. The chilling effect is a real phenomenon that occurs when people's behavior is changed due to the fear of being monitored or punished. It can happen in a variety of situations, such as when employees are monitored by their bosses, or when citizens are monitored by the government. In these situations, people may feel like they have no privacy or autonomy, and that their every move is being watched. This can lead to self-censorship, meaning that people will monitor themselves and avoid engaging in any behavior that could be considered risky or controversial. This is a slippery slope because once people start censoring themselves, it becomes easier and easier for those in power to control what people think and say. Eventually, people may feel like they have no freedom of expression and must conform to the expectations of those around them. The chilling effect is a real and dangerous phenomenon that can have a negative impact on individuals and society as a whole. It's important to be aware of the signs of the chilling effect and to take steps to prevent it from happening. This includes protecting sources of information and ensuring that people feel safe speaking out against injustice. It's also important to remember that the chilling effect can happen gradually and subtly. So it's important to be vigilant and speak out against any attempts to limit freedom of expression or privacy. These are just a few of the things that we might be losing in today's world, but it's important to remember that we're not powerless. By being aware of the challenges we face, we can take steps to protect ourselves and our way of life. It starts with each of us as individuals. If we want to protect our money, our free will, and our freedom, then we need to be aware of the threats that we face and take action to defend ourselves. We need to be aware of the biases that exist in our society and the algorithms that are being used to manipulate us. We need to be aware of the chilling effect and the ways in which it can limit our freedom of expression. By being aware of these things, we can start to take action. We can demand greater transparency and accountability from those in power. We can support organizations that are working to protect our rights and freedoms. And we can educate ourselves and others about the threats we face. It's not easy to stay informed and engaged in today's fast-paced world, but it's essential if we want to protect what we value. We can't afford to be complacent or to think that someone else will save us. It's up to us to be the change we want to see in the world. Are you ready to take action? Let us know in the comments below. We appreciate you watching this video. We really hope that you've enjoyed it. And most importantly, thank you for being a part of our community.